Airlift is a super exercise. It gives me many options as to when I would choose to use it. Firstly, I can start to look at teams, or particularly teamwork in detail, and how teams would work together, or not as the case may be. And it also gives me an opportunity to look at how teams and individuals within those teams may well go about their problem-solving approach. It's a well-constructed exercise. It's certainly an awful lot that happens within an hour, and therefore there is pressure, mistakes can be made, assumptions can be made too. But predominantly as a trainer, it's wonderful to be able to step back and just look at what's either happening, or in some cases where something should be happening, it's not. What I'll be looking for in particular at the beginning is how quickly teams commit to action, unnecessary action, rather than taking their time to clarify the objectives and actually ascertain what it is that they're being asked to do. People often read at different speeds as well, and that's something else that I'm aware of, because the first person who finishes reading the task or the objectives is keen to get started. If everybody hasn't had a chance to read the brief, then they may well be playing catch up and acting as a passenger, which isn't the best use of every team member as the exercise progresses. So clarifying objectives, that's paramount. And then considering the discussion that will ensue, allowing for options and plans to be discussed, evaluated, and then committed to action. Any team that starts to cut up card, mark out card, or cut cards to make crates within the first 10 to 15 minutes would certainly create an area of concern for me as a trainer. Again, poker faced, showing no emotion, just seeing as to what can happen later in the exercise. It may well be that they realise that all their packages won't fit within the cargo hold. They'll need more resources, so they start to compromise other objectives along the way. Then there's the area of the calculations. Where limited information is available, teams actually do need to realise that they can make an average calculation, which will either work or won't work. And the computer allows or takes the heat off of me as the trainer, because that will assess whether they come up with a workable plan or not. Now, in this planning stage, before any blood, sweat and tears can be applied, teams do need to apply some thought to generating options as far as their route selection is concerned as well. So at some point, depending on how teams deal with this, whether they see it as the priority and start to focus on that area, or whether they leave it until later in the task, it can create a bottleneck which can lead to a lot of pressure, a lot of rushed energy towards the end of the exercise, which more often than not leads to a compromise of the quality of the product at the end. So the last 5 minutes of the exercise is extremely important for me as a trainer, just to see what's happening in that last 5 minutes, whether objectives are compromised, and indeed quality is something that falls by the wayside as a result. As a trainer, I'm particularly interested in what happens during the last 5 minutes of a task. That often tells me how well thought out a plan is in conjunction to how well it's being executed as well. It's normally at this point in the exercise, if teams have planned well, they've allocated good roles and responsibilities, that things come together very nicely with time to spare. No chaos, no compromising of objectives, and a good quality finish. On the other hand, if these things haven't been well planned, then we see the opposite, where a compromising of objectives is achieved, success can be limited, and indeed all of their components don't actually fit within the cargo hold. Northgate Training provide a variety of exercises which will suit many topics that are delivered in the soft skills arena. They are extremely realistic and also extremely credible. Whether exercises go well or not, they are wonderful tools to actually consider whether theory can be applied in a safe learning environment. Often things don't work out well, and therefore there is an ample opportunity to go back and revisit the exercise and consider how we take the learning from a Northgate exercise to make sure in reality in the workplace these mistakes that may have happened in a training environment don't happen for real. They're extremely easy to use. there is a comprehensive set of notes, so trainers can very quickly understand the exercise and also have great confidence knowing that they've been well trialled and very well thought through. There are also many solutions and also user guides as to how easy they are to use, be it a business simulation, an exercise, or even down to discussion cards. They are absolutely superb exercises, and I would look to be using them for many years into the future to complement the training delivery that I am comfortable with delivering. I've been a deliverer of training for in excess of 27 years, so I have great experience. I work with an international training company and travel the world, working with a variety of companies, large, medium and small. Have to come to terms with culture, but I think wherever I am in the world, then there comes a point where training is stimulating, it's fun, it's enjoyable. A trainer shouldn't do all the talking on a training course, and therefore I absolutely believe in getting past talking the talk, and therefore need some form of activities or exercises to put theory into practice, to build confidence or see whether people can assimilate the theory, or in some cases, in talking the talk, their reality is that they're not so good at putting the theory into practice. Northgate Training are absolutely superb in providing a resource with great variety, whether it's discussions, computer simulations, or indeed exercises that create reality, allow people to put theory into practice and come up with a credible end result, or not, as the case may be.